It is the 16th, I guess, the 16th of August, not 2012. I'm in the office of Gil Sager. And we're going to talk a little bit about his business as a starter. Do you belong to a professional organization? Is there a professional organization of like you have the AMA and the Bar Association?
No, not really, no.
Is there anything like that for financial advisors?
No, not really.
There isn't?
No, it'd be huge.
Okay. Are there any, do you organize in any way? I mean, do you fellows meet and talk and...
Well, we're organized inside the firm on a regional basis.
On the firm, okay.
Yeah. So
within the
geographically, firm. Here locally in this part of Pennsylvania, we have a region that consists right now of about 40 different financial advisors.
And you keep each other up to date?
Oh, yeah.
Are there professional journals like you have for
yes, yeah.
Okay, so, and they're put out by whom? Who would be some more?
Well, there's several come out. Several are, some of them are generic from other firms on the financial advisor position. Some come from the SEC.
Securities and Exchange Commission.
Correct, yeah.
And in the medical profession, discipline and licensing is handled by the AMA. In your situation, who handles discipline and licensing?
FINRA and the SEC.
FINRA is what?
FINRA is a new organization. It's an oversight body, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. It's an offshoot of the financial problems we had back in 2008.
Is this a government organization?
Yes.
Okay, so these people are government inspectors.
Yeah, they're oversight, yes.
Okay, and who sets the rules? Who sets rules of conduct for you?
I have some that were professionally the SEC, my firm.
Okay.
But the industry as a whole.
The government sets a set of rules. Yeah. Your firm sets a set of rules. Okay. If I had a complaint with somebody, not with you certainly, but I mean with a financial advisor, if I felt that person was taking advantage of me, what would be my path?
Depending on what was involved in terms of type of investment, Phil, I mean, for example, if it was an insurance product, whether it be an annuity or an insurance policy, you could go to the state insurance department. You could file a complaint with my firm over my conduct, and then it would be investigated, and you could also go to FINRA for adjudication.
That would be the federal.
Right.
The federal.
But you could start with the state, but you'd start with my firm.
Okay. You'd start with the firm first.
Yeah.
People over your head. Yeah. Then if that didn't pan out, you go to the state, and from there to the Fed. How long have you been in this profession?
19 years.
19 years. And what was your training for the profession?
My training for profession was I studied and took the Series 7 license.
Okay.
At the time. Prior to that, I was in banking, but I was not in securities.
So you've always been in the financial services industry. In the course of your 19 years, you said. In the course of those 19 years, is there one tenet which is sort of your item of faith, that this is what your guiding light in your professional life?
Well, I think it comes from two different perspectives, Phil. First of all, the firm insists that you put the customer first in everything that we do. And second, you also have to have a personal code of ethics of how you operate as a person, how you treat people, how you want to be treated, and how you approach your business. You have to have that. I mean, the ethics of my particular firm were instrumental in why I chose it. They are by nature a conservative firm, but have a very high standard of conduct that they adhere to in terms of putting the customer first. And of course, you have the New York Stock Exchange Rule 405 is know your customer. But you have to have your own personal code of conduct of how you're going to run your business and how you're going to treat people. And that has to be done in terms if you're going to keep your license and grow your business.
If you had to, could you sum up your code of conduct in one basic statement? Personal. Well,
it's going to come back to the golden rule, and that is treat people like you'd want to be treated. And one step further, with your customer has to be, you put your customer first. In other words, you do things whether you get paid for them or not.
Okay.
You don't have to sell everything. If you sell it correctly, and you present it totally for the customer's understanding, and you don't leave anything out.
Okay, now I am, hypothetically, I'm a customer of yours, long-standing and fairly substantial. None of this is true, but, for example, and I come into you and suddenly something's happened, I'm a little desperate. And I come to you and I ask you to do something. I'm not knowledgeable in financial services, but I ask you to do something which is just a little on the shade of gray, which could be a little not quite ethical. How would you respond to me if I made that request behind a closed door?
My response to you is I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
Absolutely not.
Okay, and I say to you, look, Gil, I'm going to go across the street. There's no one. I mean, not the pizza shop, but I'm going to another dealer. Go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you would just.
I've done that.
Oh, you've done that.
Oh, absolutely.
That's happened to you.
Oh, yeah.
Have you lost a customer?
Yeah. And actually, I've thrown out customers.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I just won't deal that way.
No.
Okay, would you make now? You and I haven't known each other that long, but my family's been in town a long time. Would you make an effort to dissuade me, or just say no way?
I would explain to you why I couldn't do it.
Okay.
No, primarily, let's say, from a professional point of view.
Yeah.
From a firm point of view, for example, depending on the type of investment or what was involved.
I can't even give you an example.
In terms of quality, I would say no, I can't do it, or I won't do it. And there are people who out there will do it. For example, we have very strict rules about selling penny stocks.
Penny stock. Okay, that's where it's they're junk.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it's junk. But we don't do options. We don't do commodities.
Okay.
There are certain things I cannot sell. I'm licensed to sell them.
But your firm.
But the firm does not sell.
Right.
But if I don't think it's in your best interest, for example, I did have somebody come in and they wanted to buy a security which I won't name, and I said to them, if I came to you and said to you, I want to sell you this investment. Now, the investment has never made money. Is projected to lose $500 million next year.
Oh.
There's no promise of them making money. All right. And I said to you, how many shares do you want to buy? I said, you would take your wallet and run.
Exactly.
But you're asking me to sell that to you. And the answer to you is, I will not.
Okay.
And they said, but you have to. I said, no, I don't.
You're a private business.
And he said, well, who's your boss? And I said, well, my actual boss is in St. Louis, but I have a regional leader. Well, I'm going to call him. And you're going to say what? He goes, that you won't take my money. And I said, I don't have to.
Call him.
If you're dissatisfied and you want to move your account, you're.
But if he were not, there is another office of this firm in town. Right?
Correct.
He were to go there, he'd get the same answer, right?
I would say 99 times out of 100, absolutely.
He should get the same.
He should get the same
answer. Okay.
Yeah.
When you must do this with someone, what is typically their response? Do they respond angrily, or they say, "Okay, that's your right. I'm going to leave quietly"?
I think it's more surprise.
Oh, really?
I think they feel that if they come in with money, that there's an inherent obligation on my part that I'll have to deal with them.
They look on you as a prostitute. If I
say that because our firm doesn't believe in penny stocks. But they can go somewhere. You've got people sitting in telephone banks across the country. We call them boiler rooms.
Yeah.
Dialing for dollars that will sell you anything.
Right.
If you want to pay for it. But I think they feel that it's their money. They're entitled to buy it if they want to. Well, that really is true. It's just that my firm isn't the one that
ethically you've made
that has to sell to them. I won't sell it to you if I don't think it's in your best interest. I'm not going to help you lose money. And I'll give you an example. And I tell people this. If you pick a stock, and let's say it's a New York Stock Exchange stock, and it does well, it's your idea.
Yeah.
All right. If I sell you a penny stock or a less than quality investment, and you go out to your friends at a local place and you're talking about it, they're going, "Where did you buy it?" Edward Jones.
Then it's
or
your
Gil Sager, right? They don't say, you don't say, "But I asked him to sell it to me."
Yeah, right.
It's mine. I do.
Now, just speaking of, again, a person with very little knowledge in your business, I know in the 20s, a penny stock literally cost a penny. What do you define as a penny stock now? I mean, as far as, how would you define that term in the modern market?
Probably generally selling under $4.
Under $4.
Yeah. I mean, there are stocks still selling for 26, 28, 29 cents a share.
Oh, really? That low? And they're still on the exchange?
They're on what's called the pink sheets on the.
Can you give me an example of a stock that would fall in that category? Just.
No, I can't because I don't even see them. I don't sell them yet. But no, but people will come in and they'll bring in either an old certificate or they'll come in with a name or a symbol.
Oh, something they've had from their family.
And I'll send it in, and they'll come back and say, it's currently trading at, the last trade was 22 cents a share or something like that.
And then they could sell it at 22 cents a share. Would somebody buy it? I mean, they're.
Theoretically, there's a market out there for it, but it'd be difficult. They may not. If the last trade might have been 22 cents a share, but they may not get that.
Well, now if I were to come in, I had found my grandfather had the 20 of these shares in XYZ company that's selling for 22 cents, and I come to you and I say, "Will you sell these for me?" Would you do that?
I would pursue the possibility. I'm not
going to buy it.
I mean, I would go to our trading desk in our back office and say, my client has this security and this number of shares. I mean, I probably wouldn't even deposit in an account until I was sure that I could sell it.
Oh, that somebody out there would be buying.
Right. Yeah,
right.
If there's a market for it.
But you would handle that problem for me, even though it is. So you won't sell penny stocks, but you'd take them off.
If there's a way I can help you get rid of it.
If you try to broker them off my hands.
If the firm will do it, yeah.
Yeah, and the firm wouldn't object to that.
No, they're going to tell me whether they can do it or not.
Yeah, and if they can't do it, they can't do it. That's life.
That's right.
And you tell me that.
And I'd also tell you whether it's worthless or not.
Yeah, and it might. It might be Facebook.
They're worth more as wallpaper than they are as a.
Yeah. Well, I just was listening on the radio today, and I guess this is the first day that the employees of Facebook can sell off their shares.
Yes.
And they're expecting it to go down further.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting commentary. On
well, they're going to make their millions and get out.
Oh yeah. Take the money and run. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting commentary.
And some of these people, got options for the stock. They didn't pay anything for them.
Yeah.
They were given them the securities.
It's interesting. Who was I talking to about the state of our economy? And I said, it's what is interesting is that you don't see people building businesses for generations. It's a matter of you're an entrepreneur, you go in business, you sell it to somebody, take your money and get out. Not like the White family that was there for 3 generations, or the Spreckers were there for 5, or the Wolfson Company, which is 5 generations. People don't do that anymore.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's much tougher to do.
Yeah, you build your company, you get your profits from it, turn it over to somebody else.
I mean, if you go back to the early part of the century, you had what was called the robber barons.
Yeah, sure.
The Vanderbilts and the Mellons and the Carnegies and Rockefellers. Well, not only from a tax point of view, but from a competitive point of view, you don't have the competition and the marketing that you have today in terms of appealing to people. You've got global markets. It's a totally different process of business in today's world than it was 80, 90 years ago.
Yeah, but you don't even buy a house, though, to put your family in for generations.
Oh.
Because your kids are going to move away.
Well, how many people believe in a starter house?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah. It's interesting. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate this.
You're quite welcome.